Welcome back, folks. It's time to continue Act 2 of Turnabout in the Lighthouse of Lunacy and find out what else is going on inside this strange tower. Last time we were questioning this guy, presented a whole bunch of stuff to him. Yeah, some interesting things happened. So, to say the least. We've done everything here though, I'm pretty sure. So we can go to the side room, the crime scene, or the display room. I think for today we'll head to the crime scene. Dr. Leeds' former study. Not exactly a place I want to see again so soon. How unsurprising. How unsurprising. The terrifying witch and her sidekick arrive. It really is, as they say. The culprit always returns to the scene of the crime. Hostile right off the bat. So, that is what you had to deal with, Lillian. I see. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? I thought a professional like you would at least stick to basic principles. She hasn't realised she's in an Ace Attorney game yet, has she? Oh please, there's a limit to that. We can't have the objectively most suspicious person walk all over the scene. Objective doesn't mean what you think it means. If that's the only thing you could argue against, you admit that I have a point. Well, some information would very much help with arguing the rest, miss. And what makes you think I have a reason to surrender my name to you? Alright then, you wanna play it that way? Just giving you a chance of common decency. In truth, I of course already know who you are. Didn't take you long to grasp the concept of bluffing. She'll be swayed by words. In that case, I'll just have to show her some facts. Well, this says Dr. Celeste Hellinger. I do want to see what happens if I click the wrong thing though. How about the blood trip? How about the newspaper actually? Wrong one. I'm sure her name was written somewhere though. No, nothing funny. We're already treated enough by this game in terms of alternate dialogue though, so I'll hold it against this case. Isn't that right, Dr. Celeste Hellinger? So is that... I'm gonna call her Hellinger. Well, that much was easy enough to figure, I suppose. Then don't make such a fuss about it. Judging by the doctor title in the report, you would need to have at least some medical experience. Yet it's clear you couldn't be an actual coroner with the police. This whole trial was set up to avoid that. Doctor or not, what gives you the authority to do forensics? You're asking me to explain myself. Quite rich.
Ladies, how do we keep it civil?
I forgot he was here. Yeah, he's going to be following us around, isn't he? It's so transparent what you're trying to do. But it's pointless trying to pressure me. I do have official authorization to be here.
Friendship, peace, anyone interested?
It's exactly because the police can't be trusted that there are now people like me. Interesting. As it happens, I'm also perfectly allowed to be here. Getting tired of your objectively wrong claims. So to say, but I am totally authorized to be here. I am a member of the press with special authorization to be present at crime scenes. Who's objectively wrong now? Dr. Hellinger. Can't possibly think this gives you an excuse. Oh, and you're allowed to deny me access? Then you're no better than the police. Same cover-up, different name. Nonsense. Everyone shut up! The security guard has a proposal. Cool it and listen.
Ah, jeez, thanks for putting me on the spot like that. It's clear this head bashing won't go anywhere. Clear waste of effort if you ask me. We need some acceptable compromise. Earlier this young madam told me to keep an eye on these two, so they don't mess with anything. Didn't say anything about just letting him look, though.
So, the typical we definitely won't touch anything claim.
Okay, but yours truly is going to watch them extra closely to make sure they don't. As long as they don't touch stuff, it shouldn't be too bad a case of Robert's deranged principle.
Low cards exchange principle.
Ah, I almost had it.
Just by standing here, they may contaminate the probes.
That much can't be held. They were both in here earlier, so that damage has been done.
I suppose I'm forced to tolerate your presence. It's preferable to being deadlocked in a dramatic argument. Too kind. Well, we only got so much time, so the plan is simple. Investigate everything a little more seriously, and get whatever info we can out of this woman. I have taken note of your press pass. Why are you showing it to me again? Because I wanted to. He's being efficient. Showing this to people gets us the objectively funniest reactions. How does that assist your investigation? It, keeps our spirits up? I see. Noted. And would you say my reaction was funny? Objectively speaking. I feel like it knocked down the average. We'll have to collect more empirical data for support then. Keep showing it to everyone and rate their responses on a scale of 1 to 10. Why did I play along with this? And why are you doing it as well? Again with that pass. That will suddenly be any more effective. It's common sense not to grant suspects access to the crime scene. It was likely a very ill-estimated move to issue such passes to members of the press. An attempt to restore some faith in the police by increasing transparency. There was that case where the police detective totally faked the evidence. Looks like someone's got to keep them in check. Technically, I think that wasn't a real detective. Point stands though. Correct, sending us from one dark age into the next. Regardless, the crime scene should only be handled by trained professionals. I think they might be talking about the Phantom. They're talking about the Phantom, or they're talking about a different fan case. Access should be minimized, or I estimate the results will become even worse. Wait and see how I fare. You may have to reevaluate that later. Assertion is noted. Breath is not held. Nope, she only wants it twice. Sound like you've taken quite a good look at my gun. It would be hardly optimal to skip the most important piece of evidence in this case. Well, how did your rifling marks test go? The results are all noted in the autopsy. Did I miss it? I don't see anything. Your copy is quite obviously outdated now. If you want the latest copy, feel free to ask for it. Unless you would rather ignore the objective reality of your situation. Sure, let's stay focused on the gun for a bit longer though. Found any traces on it? Like fingerprints? Not sure why I'm asking when the answer is obvious. Not like I was wearing any gloves. If your point of concern is whether your fingerprints are on this gun, then the answer is naturally yes. Your fingerprints are all over this weapon, including those of your left index finger located specifically on the trigger. Yeah, it would have been too much to ask for those to be conveniently unrecognizable. It is my weapon, so it is what it is. Are those the only fingerprints, though? Any chance someone else might have held it? See why you wanted to talk about this? You are correct. Your fingerprints weren't the only ones present. Of course. You likely were already aware of that. The guard. Wait, somebody else touched the gun? Guess it's easy to forget. You were there for it, though. There are fingerprints of one additional person, Mr. Nelland. There you have it, book whoever that is. I don't think that will quite work. This is probably the man that took the gun from me after the fact. Oh. Did So did he not take it? I might be misremembering. But I do remember now that there was 2 men on the scene after the shooting. He has that excuse to explain those at the very least. Unless that was part of his plan. Leaving some chat for rebuttals aside, there are more material reasons the other subject is ruled out. First data point, his prints were not located on the trigger, unlike yours. Second point, there was the order they touched the gun in to consider. You have to determine that as well? Of course! My analysis is very reliable in that regard. Is that a switch? Is that a motherfucking switch? Mr. Nellen's prints are located above all the others. Nintendo fingerprints. We already have the camera, the music recorder. Those are on the 3DS, so. What does the Switch even have that's comparable? I don't know. He clearly was the very last person to touch that gun. Given you were seen holding it at the scene, you therefore could not have held it before that point. Any use of gloves is also ruled out, considering the absence of smudge marks. Taking all of those points into account, who held the gun at the time of the crime is near sin. I didn't get how you'd figured half of this, but we should just take the L. I didn't get how you'd figure half of that, but I feel we should just take the L. Yeah, probably for the best. Stick notes and hope I understood them correctly. Spending the time gun presumed to be what killed Miss Holden. One bullet is missing, a second one was discharged for forensics purposes. Click check for fingerprint data. Right, that second bullet, I have a feeling about that. They both held it with both hands. Mr. Nellen was the last one to touch it. Only the defendant's fingerprints are on the trigger. And we know one of those guys is called Walter Nellen now, at least, so we know someone's name. Now we bribe with cake. I see, so that is your approach. Just saw right through it. My approach? What do you mean? The brain requires sugar to function, that much is a fact. I've heard detectives consuming sweets to enhance their mental performance. You hear this? They may be smarter. The effectiveness of this method has not been objectively verified. Body will build up insulin resistance, causing adverse effects. It may hurt your brain in the long term. Well, no need to worry about that if it's kept in moderation. Nice cope. Now we present the objectively wrong, outdated autopsy report. Did you make any progress with the autopsy? Are you positive you want to know? Miss Preston really wanted me to objectively determine whether the bullet came from your gun. Just tell me. We're gonna have to face that sooner or later regardless. Very well. Of course, Hunt included a way to match rifling marks. You do need the second bullet to compare to, but one of my Hunt devices can internally fire a gun inserted into it. That was the shot we heard earlier then. Correct. And the results? The bullet is a 91% match to your gun. I shouldn't be surprised by this, I guess. The noose is tightening. Still, only 91? That leaves a solid 9% chance it wasn't her gun, right? No 2 bullets will end up as perfect copies on the microscopic scale. It's correct that in simulated tests, no matches had a similarity score of 98% on average. While 91% is notably below that, it's still well over the threshold for mere coincidence. That is supposed to say threshold. Bullets known to be from different guns have never had a match. But bullets known to be from different guns have never had a match of more than 85%. And it only ever got that high when we intentionally tried to create 2 guns with identical rifling marks. Even when we made every effort to create a fake match, it never got remotely close to 91%. The chance that these markings could be from any other gun is therefore ruled out beyond reasonable doubt. Which, of course, wouldn't even be needed here, since this is not a criminal trial. Yes, just lovely. Speaking of, fancy signature. Is that a normal thing to do? I consider it a useful principle to sign documents personally. It may help if there is ever suspicion of compromises or forgery. Not all ink is made equal. There are differences in composition between manufacturers. So in the worst case, I could analyze it to verify whether it really came from my own pen. Took some lessons from certain police failures, I see. Mind giving us a copy of your updated autopsy report then? I can print you as many as you need. I think one more door is fine. We got a picture now. Her eyes are open pretty creepily like that. Red floor, knife next to it. And that knife is quite close to her hands. You can tell she held it and let go of it. But that's probably not going to be completely useful in improving self-defense. Right, Melanie Holden, cause of death, sudden cardiac arrest. Time of death, April 4 from 18 o'clock to 19 o'clock. Gunshot wound in center of chest. Horizontal angle of entry. Bullet damage on left lung and heart, causing fatal damage to the latter. Small cut on the tip of right index finger. I don't think that was mentioned there before. I don't remember that. But the bullet damaged the left lung and heart, and fatal damage. So that proved that this gunshot killed her then. Bullet lodged in subject heart was retrieved. Rifling marks 91% match with defendant's gun. Heavy amount of sweat present on the subject's face. No evident cause. State of body and clothes suggests no more than a minor struggle. Subject's stomach is empty. I guarantee the veracity of the above information. Yes. Let's hope we won't need 1,000 updates. Oh, what's this? The victim had a small cut on her finger. That wasn't the first one. Only had time to focus on the obvious wounds before the trial began. I like speculating, but she likely cut herself on something when falling down. Hardly something that turns the case around for you. Let's keep in mind though. Is there anything? There's a faint blood trail, that could be where she got the cut. She cut herself in a different room and trailed blood to the main room. I'm not sure what that would change. Right. The knife. Made any progress with this knife? Surely you checked it for prints by now. I'm sure I can do better than Lillian did with this. There were in fact some fingerprints left by the victim, from her right hand to be precise. And her right hand is the one that's pointed out here. No surprises there. Don't let that fact give you any premature hopes. You're clearly not wounded, and there's no blood on the blade. If you thought about claiming self-defense, something like that might have helped you. You say there's no blood on the blade, but what about the other places, like the handle or the sheath? Surely she would have mentioned if that were the case. To be precise, there's a tiny amount of blood on the handle. Still losing out to Lillian's intuition? Oh well. I imagine spotted there after the victim was shot in the chest and dropped it. Or from that cut on her finger. And it's on her right index finger, and she held the knife in her right hand, so it doesn't seem like a unreasonable conclusion. But could you actually determine it's the victim's blood? Blood tests take time, but I was able to determine that much. Fairly unsurprising, I guess. As for the sheath, I found neither the fingerprints nor blood traces on it. Wait a second. The sheath. It says Chase on there. That's your name. Oh damn. You're right. It does. Why? Wouldn't that mean that this is your knife? If you're willing to give an explanation for this, I'm all ears. It's not my knife. Never seen it before today and certainly didn't bring it here. What do you want to hear? Well, we weren't going to claim that anyway. Fortunately for you, there's very clear evidence the knife wasn't brought by you. The fact that she went through a metal detector and had to give up the gun. You mean a lack of prints? Nonsense, prints can be wiped. Recall the final moments of the auction. The host presented the knife to all of us. It was to be the next item to be sold after the break. That preview confirmed you didn't bring a knife on top of a gun. Not much of a break, but I'll take it. Well, this doesn't explain why this has your name on it. Kind of too much of a coincidence, don't you think? Well, my last name is also a common word. Maybe it's just part of the design. Can't fault you for not being convinced, but it's impossible for me to explain this. Well, let's just take it into evidence. Large combat knife found next to Miss Holden. Bear's fingerprints on her right hand. A faint amount of her blood was also found on the handle. Its sheath was lying a small distance away. We don't get the sheath itself? Oh, it's letting us present the knife again. But with the same dialogue. I assume the autopsy will do the same to waste our time. Cleaning spray? If you make use of that spray, I am going to restrain you. I wasn't planning to. Is it that bad? Is using a detergent at a crime scene one of the fastest ways to compromise it? The answer is yes. I hope you didn't assume otherwise. You're the one with the assumptions. This could be luminol for all you know. Then there'd be no better place to spray it. T/.M/. I'm not familiar with this brand, but this is objectively not luminol. Even if it was, I have far more reliable and less intrusive means of blood analysis available. Still, I think I have seen this spray before somewhere. Where was it? Alright, time to put it away again before she catches on. Now I really want to see what will happen if I spray it. You'll likely have one of the cleanest ways to get charged with destruction of evidence. Sounds awesome! I'm keeping this with me while we're here. A locked room mystery? Well, that can't be good. I don't want to take her word for it, but I'll look at the door myself first. A Mataphonic CT1002, manufactured in 1978. You recognize the exact model? No knowledge is required. It's been inscribed on the unit. Oh, makes sense. So it's about 50 years old. Guess the alien's description was close enough. It's unlikely to be relevant to the crime. We've meant to take a look at it. Only a look. Nothing more. Right. Well, hold up a sec. It's better to keep this to myself for now. There's a good chance this detective has been too focused on the scene to notice. I can make use of any potential trump card I get my hand on. So we're not going to have her analyze this blood, because we're going to wait for a dramatic time to... Well, she's going to be happy about that. Figured out what this key is for? No. There's been nothing in this study it could unlock. The corresponding keyhole has to be elsewhere. Any ideas? Point 1, it was clearly made for a lock similar to the study door. Point 2, locks of the same make appear to be installed throughout this floor. Hypothesis, the key likely belongs to another lock in this building. Feel free to try this on other doors, panels, drawers, and cabinets. While it would be ideal to verify this, I lack the resources to pursue this tangible point. Don't mind if I do. I guess it's debatable how relevant it really can be. was found in the victim's pocket. I'm aware that something like this was published 4 years ago. It came up when researching this place. You've done your homework then. Thoughts? You killed someone in the study of the man you wrote an exposing article about. Statistically unlikely to happen by accident. Would you care to explain? That's neither here nor there. Expected, you would not simply provide your motive. It appears Victoria Preston had a hypothesis, so I will not pursue that aspect. She has no idea. What does she say? If you won't answer my queries, I won't answer yours. Well, it's probably just her jumping to quick conclusions again. I don't have sufficient data to assess her yet. Once we are no longer trapped in this place, I'll make sure to perform an investigation. Great. Why send me a copy of your report? This won't be for sale, especially not to main suspect. I'm right here if you want to ask me something, you know. It was a joke. You say that, but deep down you want to learn more about me. Don't be one of those people that stalk my socials. Ask me directly. Fine. Tell me about your... favorite thing, relationship status, criminal record. Tell me about your relationship status. Your relationship status? Happily married. Well, yeah, because I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, we did the marriage ending. Well, not ending, but the marriage choice when we were interviewing this guy out front. We both know that's not true. We both know that's true. You said it yourself. I'm your wife. My wife. I knew I would regret that. Is that just going to be the joke now? I can't believe you call our marriage a joke. Fine, forget I asked. Maybe I can make it go away if I ignore it. Noted. Don't note that down. You've already received this information from another witness. Are you saying that you lied to him? That's... Ooh, it won't be good luck if I admit that. She's just a little shy about it. Don't mind her. Well, rest assured that I don't judge your choice of partner based on shallow data. However, I hope there are more productive things to do than being objectively gay at my crime scene. Good call. Let's get away from this and back to the case. Or shall we? Sorry, you've already spent your 3 personal questions for the day. If you've got any more, you'll have to upgrade to Lilium Premium. Huh. These predatory business models are really everywhere now. Does that at least come with a star next to my name? The best I can do is get one of my stellar outfits for you. Pass then. No? I did make a save point, so I can go back and we'll ask those questions anyway. I want to see as much of this as possible. Favorite thing? Your favorite thing? That's fake. Something must come to mind. Is it not gonna be your weird time travel pendant? Well, I can tell you my least favorite thing. It's getting asked fuzzy questions at crime scenes. Alright, I'll try. What's your favorite... Ooh. Color, animal, book, or song? Should we go with... song? You know we got the same taste. I like rock. So far so good, but which song? I guess I vibe with Guilty Love. Great, another Gaviner's fan guild. World needed that. They were popular for a reason. Couldn't believe they disbanded just when I found them. I was there when that murder made it all go downhill, you know. Of course you were. So this is canon. Well, it takes place in the world of Phoenix, right? It's not an alternate universe. First his brother, then his friend. Poor Clavier, betrayed by so many people close to him. Hard to deny that was rather tragic. I find him so relatable. There's no way it's that bad even for you. You don't get to say that after what you pulled a couple of hours ago. I guess I better win this trial. Don't want to give that guy any more fans. If you don't like it, tell me who's worth listening to. Your turn. You ever heard of guilt trips? Doesn't ring a bell. I like the name though. They're really good. They even got a female member. She kind of reminds me of you. Might be someone relatable. I will look into that once we're out of here. Fingers crossed this one won't disband. Careful, you might actually have the power to jinx it. This will be predatory business models again. But we have time travel. She can freeze time, we can use save states, which I think is a superior power, to be honest. What's your favourite book? Tough one, maybe Death in the House of Rain? I've heard of that one. Only because I told you about it, you pleb. Read it. There's no point now. You pretty much spoiled me. You're really into the ones with the questionable architecture. If your mystery doesn't take place in some weird house, what's even the point? That's why we stand Ayataji. Ayahu. Unbelievable. You shouldn't get to call yourself a queen of crime. Good thing there's more to that than knowing every last mystery novel. Like being able to properly gather clues, not just evidence from nonsense descriptions. Besides, if that's all that mattered, we'd still have Victoria. Getting so defensive. You don't need to try that hard to excuse your cluelessness. Are all mystery novel readers like this? Probably. You bet! Noted. What's your favourite animal? What is that? Starfish! Didn't expect that, but not too surprising the more I think about it. It's the peak of evolution. All animals missed the memo. I mean, being able to lose a limb and then just grow it back, that's... I don't know. Stuff from the sea. It's kind of gross. We're all stuff from the sea. Oh, the stars, if you really think about it. I can't let her know. She'll call me basic. But cat's the real peak. Color. Why not? Really? It's blue. I'm so shocked. I don't know what else I was expecting there. Now, for something intriguing. Your criminal record. You didn't even try. What a waste of a question. I'm the poster child of lawful living. Don't know about that one. Getting suspected isn't the same as actually being arrested. My record is clean. Unlike you, I get away with my murders. Okay, I should have known I'm in a position to throw these kinds of punches. Right. Oh yeah, we just keep on presenting profiles. I have no data to share with you about this. No? Nothing about the literal victim of the case? Forcing a trial right at the scene. Her method aims for efficiency, I will grant her that. Takes a special kind of attitude to commend your kidnapper for a job well done. Or did you know this was going to happen? You're happily going along with it. Incorrect, this is outside my estimations. I took her case because it's more productive than letting someone else contaminate the scene. Time and manpower are the major limiting factors of Miss Holden's approach. Definitely looks like you could need more of both. I will manage. It does not appear to be a complex case, after all. We'll see what I'll be able to say about that. This is what passes as philosophy these days? Don't you try and gatekeep the queen of gatekeeping. The philosophy isn't the point. It's all about being pretentious for her. That usually means philosophers. This usually means philosophers, chess metaphors, and gratuitous Latin at bare minimum. I doubt she actually gets what she's even talking about. I see, you appear to think you know her quite well. You unfortunately did attend the same university. Yes, but Princeton has informed me of that already. According to her, your presence reflected poorly on the school's reputation. And that's right, coming from someone who probably didn't even finish any degree. Given she has a lawyer now, it's probable she did, in fact, graduate. Surely her performance so far supports quite the opposite. That badge was bought and you can't convince me otherwise. I'm being provided conflicting data points. Well, I have more important things to settle at the moment. Right, I've got to focus on how I'm going to defend myself. Doesn't matter whether she's a legit lawyer. If I win this, she'll get stripped of that title. Currently, 4 people that visited this tower have died in unusual circumstances. That is statistically unusual and does support the notion of an unknown cause. It does not mean, however, that we have to posit the curse that this Mr. Cover has been talking about. From where I stand, this building does look pretty cursed. Subjective. I will explore the thought that has turned into a self-fulfilling prophecy. Could it be that you came here to investigate this phenomenon? No comment. It would be objectively ironic if you did. Ultimately, I have yet to encounter a curse that wasn't caused by humans making poor decisions. All supernatural agencies are ruled out as a matter of course. Says the girl that can stop time. Mr. Gart's approach objectively cannot be called thorough.
Right, here we go again.
I'm not talking about the unseized weapon. You queried me about each individual piece of my equipment.
Well, tripped the metal detector. That forced me to do my job, madam.
However, the notes you took were hardly adequate. The fact that you called my gas chromatograph a purifier shows you didn't listen.
I mean, that sounded like it summed it up well enough.
Are you going to be able to recall this if you need to refer to these notes in 1 year?
It's not like that's going to be on test.
They should have illustrated that you cannot know that. 2 kinds of people. These 2 seem like a match. Van Lead, the former tenant of this building, notorious for his many crimes. According to my daughter, this room used to be his before he died 5 years ago. Or he's still alive right now when he's telling people about curses and giving people strawberry cake, but that is objectively unproven as of yet. It doesn't appear to have been lived in since. There are notable layers of dust on the furniture. Sounds right. His items were the ones up for auction today. Beyond that, there is currently no evidence that ties him to this particular crime. Let's hope it stays that way. A few questions, Miss Hellinger. Dr. Hellinger. If you insist, Dr. Hellinger then. Can you elaborate on your job? I've never run into someone allowed to perform rogue investigations. A journalist who's not up to date. How objectively ironic. I'm a detective from the Althea group. Alathea group. Detective? Correct, I became one after finishing my degree. You mean like a private detective? Technically correct. However, please don't make any of the common assumptions. Part of something much organized than the freelancers that people generally think of. Oh, so you're a consulting detective. Alathea, huh? What exactly is that supposed to be? In the simplest terms, it's an organization of detectives. The main benefit is that members are licensed to assist with investigations like this one. Did you solve any big cases yet? I don't pay attention to whether a case is big, which is subjective to begin with. What's much more important is to focus on the quality of your process, your method. Wouldn't that kind of be reflected in how many cases you manage to solve? Incorrect. Imagine a detective who always arrests the first person they see. They subsequently try to make all the evidence they find fit with their suspect. Such a detective would end up having not a single unsolved case. Would you consider that outcome positive? Well, it doesn't really count as solved if your guess was wrong. And how would you know whether it's incorrect? Calling an ineffective detective? They might rush to conclusions and desire to solve the case all the same. Okay, fair. Don't theorize before you have data, as Holmes put it. In order to do that, you need methods to guarantee the most accurate, unbiased information. A detective's job is to detect. I therefore indicate to optimize detection. Technically, that's everyone's job. The accuracy of the information is much more important than whether it is sufficient to make an arrest. The aim shouldn't be fast conclusions, but rather an effort to gather more reliable data. So that's the philosophy of a pro. Sounded mostly like an elaborate way to say, don't be stupid. The courts are starting to change for the better. It's time for our investigative methods to catch up. I take it that involves all those gadgets circled around her. Mind telling us something about those methods of yours? I'm still busy, but I suppose it is important to distribute this information. Oh, we have her in the profile. I forgot we didn't even have her in the profiles, but never know. Private detectives sanctioned by the government to assist with and conduct investigations using state-of-the-art technology to assist with forensics. I'm still busy, but I suppose it's important to distribute this information. Kind of rushed for time as well, but she might let some info slip if I keep her talking. We will present her profile. Nice look, by the way. I like what you did with your hair. That won't help you either. It's plain what you're trying to do. You all need to learn to just accept compliments sometime. Looks like she's got you figured out. This isn't the first time. People try to appeal to my goodwill concerningly often for unknown reasons. Do you have any ideas why? Because you look like a nice person that cuts others some slack? I specifically chose his appearance to look less amicable. That's an interesting goal. Can sort of relate though. I estimated that these colder colours should have had that effect. However, there are even more people approaching me now than before. Well, duh, that's what happens when your outfit stands out like that. And unusual hair colours can also make you look more open-minded. Plus, this totally gives people an excuse to talk to you. I see, there's factors I hadn't considered. Well, there are certainly meaner outfits, but if you want to look unapproachable, body language is a better way to go. Cross your arms and look at your phone all day. None of this is even still related to the original point. I imagine this keeps happening while you're investigating crimes. Suspects are going to ask for lenience. There's no avoiding that with your looks. If anything, being cold will make them try hard to get some reassurance. Noted as well. This has been notably useful data. Thank you. I will take it into account when optimizing the approach the next time. What about this time, though? What about the next time? Nope, she says the same thing. Thank goodness for instant text typing right. We'll keep talking to her, because we seem to do these three, and then we can examine the scene. And? Found the real key yet? No, there doesn't appear to be any hidden metallic objects in this room. Ultimately, that mystery is secondary. It was a mistake for that Victoria person to even argue the point. A prime example of rushed conclusions. That should be a lesson to her to focus on what we know. Yeah. Wouldn't bank on Victoria learning any lessons from this. There must be some discord on their side after that failure. Maybe I can make use of that. You must have realised she considers herself the peak of all creation. Yeah, I'm surprised you can tolerate working under her. You two appear to be familiar with her. More than we'd like to. She's a rich brat that lives in a mansion where she lets servants do all the work for her. But instead of acknowledging that, she claims full credit for all they do. Eventually, one of her butlers had enough and tried to teach her a lesson. That incident ended with one of her guests dying to protect her. And then she somehow made it even worse. She would refuse to acknowledge her butler as a potential culprit. Not because she had any trust in him, mind you. She refused to even see him as someone that could have his own free will. What I have observed today might be supportive data points, but it is objectively hard to believe. She'll end up treating you the same way. Don't count on getting any credit. Any groundbreaking investigation results? Victoria will say she found those herself. Irrelevant. What? Seriously? It was inevitable from the start that this trial would be a disaster. While an interesting attempt, I'm not really concerned with how it turns out. As for getting credit, desires like that are part of the reasons that have led to many false indictments. I only care about my ability to do my job, that is, providing objective, accurate data. She's actually a saint. What a bunch of BS. No selfish desires at all? Only the truth matters? Yeah, right. How unsurprising you're not fond of the idea. Let me ask you a question then. Imagine a situation where you need to investigate your employer, who's obviously against it. They order you to adjust your results. If you don't, you'll get fired. Do you comply and compromise the current investigation? Or stick to your methods at the cost of all future investigations? It's unclear to me why you want to posit such an implausible scenario. Regardless, there will be an objective, most efficient choice in any situation. I estimate that it's going to be reporting truthful and accurate facts. That should be expected to maximize utility if you project it onto the long term. Good luck with those in the real world. What a farce. Well, this has made it clear we won't be able to make her quit this job. There's something here I need clarity on. Just what are all these devices sprawled across the floor? Oh, you mean my Nintendo Switch? My hunt devices? They really are cutting edge, are they not? Dare I ask what hunt means? Heavily underutilized Nintendo technology. Because, you know, most people with the Nintendo Switch haven't really used the fingerprint and ballistic marks detecting functions. Hardly understandable new technology. Well, I got one word right, didn't I? That was a joke, right? Is she capable of making jokes? Think of them as a mobile lab. Forensics usually involve collecting and sending samples for analysis. A lengthy, unreliable process. But what if I could measure and analyze everything right at the scene? That's what Ayako Kuriyama asked herself too. There she goes again, throwing around unknown names. I observe you don't even know that much. Mrs. Kuriyama is a genius working at Shimada Tech. They were already specialized in analytical instruments for medical and industrial purposes. Spectroscopy, spectrometry, chromatography, and so on. You name it. Mrs. Kuriyama applied all that expertise to forensics and even made the devices portable. I'm actually happy talking about something. Okay, I got the gist of that at least. That change in energy took me off guard. So these hunt gadgets can basically check for prints and stuff, and just more efficiently. You call them portable, but how do you even carry all of them at once? It's true they can check for prints, but that's only scratching the surface. They can analyze the molecular makeup of any sample. Surfaces can also be scanned. When you encounter a suspicious liquid, you can determine if it's blood, water, or something else. It's infinitely more reliable and less disruptive than spraying luminol everywhere. Did you know that there are certain cleaning agents that interfere with luminol detection? Let alone the fact that anything drenched in luminol will be difficult to perform other tests with. Same for fingerprint powder. Hunt makes all of it obsolete. You can locate and analyze the bare prints on the surface, even their order. Order? You mean their age? Well, age might be a little difficult to be exact on, but you can recognize multiple layers of prints. Let's posit two people touch a door successively. The first person's prints will be buried below those of the second person. Hunt is able to retrieve the buried print and conclude in what order people touch certain objects. So it's capable of looking below the surface. I guess that's how you also performed your autopsy. Correct. Hunt is capable of also analysing the interior of objects to a certain degree. It's basically magic. Still, the human body is complex. It's a slow process if you don't know what data you're looking for. I generally rely on a database of all known substances provided by the WHO and others. What's this one for then? That's a 3D printer. And this one? An autonomous drone for collecting samples from hard to reach spots. Let's not go through everything, it's clear you like relying on machines. Naturally, machines are unbiased, unlike humans. It's the best way to avoid jumping to unwarranted conclusions. Hunt devices has been added to the court record. The detective uses numerous machines to conduct their investigations. So we have, included but not limited to, a mix of devices that allow analytic feats that are only possible in a lab has the database of all known substances to compare samples against. It's possible to scan for fingerprints with one of these, including all the prints buried beneath. This allows determining the order in which serves to touch by different individuals. Limited capacity to scan the interior of objects. This does also enable the performance of autopsies on site. Another device can fire a gun inserted into it and analyze the resulting rifling marks. A 3D printer, an autonomous drone. Interesting. I imagine you fully checked the study by now with these tools, so what did you find? Makes scanning an entire room sound trivial. To some degree, I still have to determine what to search for. It doesn't help that some of my devices aren't working at optimal capacity. Why is that? Did you damage them? No, they're robust enough. It's related to their dependence on EM waves. You must have noticed that your cell phones have no reception on this floor, correct? Well, yes, otherwise someone would have called the police by now. Seems like this isn't the case due to us being out of reception range. There is a certain kind of electromagnetic interference covering this entire floor. Ms. Holden confirmed it's a feature of this tower. She refuses to turn it off, however. So this building has a built-in jamming transmitter? I guess that makes much more sense than this just being out of range by going up a little. Kind of ironic for something that looks like a broadcast tower, though. It should be apparent how that does cause issues for some of my devices. As such, I'm unable to conduct my investigation at full efficiency. My condolences. Whew. There's already enough to deal with. I should ask her about specific evidence if I want to know what she managed to figure out. Well, we've already done that. But we'll ask about Alethea. You must have noticed the faith in the police is at an all-time low. That is the general impression I got. Bad police interactions get all the clicks nowadays. Well, there are several reasons for it. A major factor is their track record with false convictions. It's been ignored for a while, mainly because the focus was on the courts being just as terrible. Now that the few competent lawyers have lifted us out of the dark age of the law, it's on full display. Dark age of the law. Always count on the media to get stupid names to catch on. That's what led to the proposition that is Alethea, a non-profit organisation that aims to improve the quality of detective work. Their aim is to make competent private detectives work for them as associates, and then have them serve as consultants on real investigations. Why didn't I get the memo that? Why didn't I get the memo that was just straight up a detective corporation? You should try signing up. You should try signing up. Who's talking to us? Pass. Well, they have enough applicants as is, so they try not to advertise their existence too much. After all, a truly competent detective should be able to track them down regardless. Needless to say, the vetting process is adequately rigorous. Furthermore, the detectives are ranked internally, with incentives to improve performance. The top 100 detectives receive a special title as well as several benefits. Titles? Simply something to honour their investigation method. For example, there's a certain detective who never manages to make any deductions himself. However, team him up with anybody and he will somehow always manage to solve the case. Hence his title, the Assistant Detective. Well, what's your title? I don't rank that high, and objectively don't care for it. Oh, I get it. Seeing as how you're relying on all these devices, you're scared they'll name you Inspector Gadget. It doesn't matter. If my methods are effective, who cares about what they call it? What a funny little system. So much for selfless, agenda-free detectives. People will end up treating serious detective work as some sort of competition. This incentivizes the same kind of behaviour you pointed out as problematic with the police. You understand nothing. There are internal review systems to make sure you can't just rush a case. No system is perfect, of course. But don't you estimate it could be an improvement over leaving things to the state? Oh, definitely. Definitely not. This is opening a whole new can of worms. I'm frankly surprised they allowed this to go forward in any capacity. There's some resistance to the idea, of course, especially here in the US. Yet being overwhelmed with crime as they are, some states finally allowed some of it. Time will tell how far we will come. You can't stop the detective apocalypse, Aurelia. Just give in. Not like this. I want to cry. That's as much time as I'll waste explaining my background to you. Best focus back on the investigation. Well, we'll have a little look around then. TV. So this is a supposedly very old TV. Didn't miss it the first time I was here. Not sure why you thought this could be important, really. It's like the only piece of furniture that's still left in here. Also, isn't it kind of weird how it's placed in a corner with no chairs actually facing it head on? Not necessarily, you can also see it from the main desk. And some people just like to have a TV running in the background. You wonder if this study was one of those. Now how would you know that? I did publish that article. There's obviously some things I looked into. Anyway, this is a cathode ray tube TV. Very old relic for sure, probably from the 70s or so. I'd be surprised if it even still worked properly. Let's see, I don't see a remote anywhere, so... Oh, it actually turned on. Looks like it's not working properly anymore though. All it's showing us is blue screen. Looks more as if you still don't get the memo about not touching anything.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say.
Oops. Wait, I think I forgot to set my TV to record one of my favorite TV series today. Oh well, I'll just still watch it on the internet later. It's just a rerun anyway. Should be able to find it. Priorities. Well, I best note on my findings. Well, it displays a blue screen now, but we know that there's electronic interference around. And we can present the TV to her. This new TV, at least. So the same thing. Right. That brings us to about the end of this video. We didn't manage to finish the investigation of this room because this is this game's packed full of so much stuff to do. It's insane, but I love it. We'll be back to conclude our investigation. We should only really need to look around at a few more things, and then we'll hopefully move to a different room. But yeah, that's all. Can't wait to continue next time. Bye.